Ma never na say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo.
Obusan for lawyer Abraham Amaliba akasa na ochiremu a se obi eka kire wo se Supreme Court ya de bia ye Supreme Court na o na ewo the fence saying the only right to interpret the constitution here one dia de no was ni nyina no frakadam was obiara a owo Supreme Court oye ordinary person to say any lawyer ewo krum ha or say enye Supreme Court nko a ena sabiu omutimi interpret law no mamma enkoluku like say obi ya appointing say Supreme Court judge na cheso sa nipa no oye nipa huhu bi anase ne su bi emada o say enye sa na tie ntro. Yes, or say ntro abusiafo enti nie lawyer Abraham Amaliba person o kire nyina ne say enkrofo a ya appoint omo as Supreme Court judges. They are mere lawyers like any of them. Lawyer Amaliba mo. They say offense MPP ni ya nansi ya 2016 ya na Akufo-Addo power no edne koka Supreme Court for 2016 ya was 2016 ya na edne koka after so we win election we 2016 no MPP parliamentary candidate whole central olusu ye no ena Akufo-Addo 2017 omu win election na 2017 mo ena Akufo-Addo na call Supreme Court ekwohye ho no so me judge enti no nko no so o te say lawyer bi asenka ne owini power ena obetena parliament one mo nko no so kan lawyers ya o so kire o ma adwene ewo de asi no hu enti enya nipa soronku bi ena ye de o ma like omo ye Supreme Court judges so they are ordinary lawyers o mampanyini ena power omo lawyer bia o mampanyini be fi say o no modern more also ani e bia wa pass it through fence and some mechanic say wa pass it through the mill near hwe na say o qualifier na say ya na nashim na ono a na nashim sa na tie what you say we o contest here for MP and wanya or your lawyer any ye de ye den edin be shim enti sa pepepepeneti enti enyese nipa no omo ye nipa huhu bi anas dabi me pese ye kona okotie nkomo ni ye lawyer Amaliba chire mu akire na adwene ama Ghana fo nyina hu se na chese decision na Supreme Court ebu aye no omo ankasa no omo andwene ho omo to atwi abusuafo TV3 news so TV3 ena sa nkomo yi ekọ so me pese ye kọ na yekutie enkomo no eba sesi a ani yenko na yenkutie enkomo no embra na yemetoa yedwumadie so abusia PENDREAM TV so ne subscribe to the channel no emaye o subscribe we na wa share to other platforms so ensaka bi like video no emaye we a mesrew wa adwenkyere bia na o to comment section no ase amaye yenkutie enkomo no ba.
There are substantive issues that have to. What are your own observations in the first place so far?
Let me start by saying good morning to your viewers. My colleague Afuakwa mentioned that Ghanaians should vote for Mahmoud Bawumia. I want to tell him on this program that Ghanaians, having been taken through this harsh economic situation, are not fools to repeat their suffering. A vote for Bawumia is a vote for Ghanaians to repeat their suffering. Now, I have heard people say that it is only the Supreme Court that can interpret the Constitution. It's a lie. The Constitution regulates our lives, our daily lives. And indeed, each day that we go about our activities, we interpret the Constitution. So it's not only the Supreme Court. The only time that it is the preserve of the Supreme Court to interpret the Constitution is when there are rival interpretations. So let people know. I've heard this bandied around. So let the matter end today. It is only when there's a rival interpretation. And that's why the Constitution is written in plain English. You notice that the language of the Constitution is not legalese. Have you noticed that? Because it's meant for all of us. And we are to interpret this Constitution as we go about our activities. So let's assume that even here, your board members are meeting. They call your board, the lawyer for your company to come and interpret a provision of the Constitution. Then the lawyer says that, board members, wait, let me carry the Constitution to the Supreme Court, and then they'll give it, and I'll come and give it to you. Doesn't make sense. So I'm telling people who are always saying that it is on the Supreme Court, today let it end. Now, you ask a question that what is the way forward? The word you used was consensus. And he's gone all over, he has not provided a consensus. What's the way forward? He has not answered that question. But let me follow him to where he has gone to. Let me follow him there. Article 97, G and H. And this provision has been read. It's notorious. Everyone knows it. I'm not going to read it.
Even Michael Quay also quoted it in that insert.
Exactly. Now, the NPP should tell me and viewers where this provision talks about the future. Which, look at the wording and tell me which of the words here talks about the future. Now, when they say that the Supreme Court has the exclusive jurisdiction to interpret the Constitution, it is not when people on their own decide to come out with a convoluted argument and say that that is an interpretative issue. Are you listening to me? These are plain words. So, when they say the Constitution should be interpreted by the Supreme Court, it doesn't mean that you, Roland, sitting in your house and then conjure an interpretative issue and say that the Supreme Court should now interpret it.
Okay.
And so, per this Constitution and Article 97 G and H, there is no interpretative issue at all.
There's no confusion.
There's no confusion. Give this to a junior high school child, and he will read and interpret it for you.
Okay, so this is why
there's no confusion.
It says that a member of parliament shall vacate his seat in parliament in G if he leaves the party of which he was a member at the time of his election to parliament to join another party, or seeks to remain in parliament as an independent member, or if he was elected a member of parliament as an independent candidate and joins a political party.
Full stop. Now,
and the MPP constitution...
No, I'm not even going there yet. Okay. If he leaves the party of which he was a member at the time of election to parliament, full stop there. These people that we are out,
they've left.
Has this caught them or not?
Yeah, they've left.
So sometimes when the MPP is talking, I don't know. But let me suppress my anger, isn't it? So that's the first one. 2, to join another party or seek to remain in parliament as an independent member. Has this caught them again or not? What is this? What is this about these MPP people? Sometimes I wish we could just carve out some place for them and say that's their country.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
They are, you see, the way they behave. catch them here, they do this. You catch them there, they do this. What is this? This provision, which is in black and white, does it lend itself to any interpretation? Does it? Where is the future here? Which of the words here talks about future? Synonyms. Let's go to English. Synonyms. Which word here talks about future? Which word here talks about future? So you see, let me exercise restraint and do my argument, because are they not seeking to remain in this parliament? Are they seeking to remain in the next parliament? Look, stop what you are doing. When you were talking, I was not happy, but I disciplined myself.
Okay, go ahead.
Discipline yourself. You may not like what I'm saying. Now, you come up with your own convoluted interpretation and say, let's go to the Supreme Court. Article 115 of the Constitution is very clear on how Parliament conducts its business and whether Parliament's business is open for any court action. It's clear. 115, read it. Because if I read it, then people say that I'm putting words.
115, there shall be freedom of speech, debates, and proceedings in Parliament, and that freedom shall not be impeached or questioned in any court or placed out of Parliament.
So it is this provision that the majority NDC is hanging on to and thinks that the Supreme Court has no business in this matter. It is this provision. Now, having dealt with those matters, let me deal with consensus.
Because right now there's a stalemate, but Parliament is needed back.
There is.
We have to reconvene Parliament.
There is. First and foremost, as an expert in conflict resolution, what you need to do first is whether the two parties are amenable to settlement. Because you can't bring parties to the negotiation table when they themselves are not in agreement, particularly when they have entrenched positions.
Do you see the positions as entrenched, and why?
They are entrenched, but both sides know. He has failed to answer those questions, so I'm now teaching him how to answer questions. Both sides know that the country must move forward, isn't it? Isn't it? Both sides know that the country must move forward. Now, if you are coming to a negotiating table, you don't come with an entrenched position. You must be ready to give and take. You must lose some, you must take some.
Where are the contentions?
The contentions are in two areas. One, who leads Parliament and thereby doing government business? And two, whose number in Parliament is the largest? So who is majority in Parliament? And then who is the one who will lead government business? What will government do if the majority goes to the NDC? That's the problem now. Okay. So anybody who is going into this matter must be ready to look at the positions of the parties, their interests, and their needs. Three areas.
You've brought a very important thing up. The Supreme Court gave an order. So once the Supreme Court has given an order, we haven't heard a response from the Speaker. So my assumption is once the Supreme Court is given or has given an order, it means that everything returns to basics.
No, that's another area. Let me use my knowledge of the law to educate people. Those who were saying that yesterday, 2 days ago, they went to Parliament.
Yes. Because that's I'm thinking.
Those who were saying that the NDC majority should have moved away and go to the left-hand side of Mr. Speaker because the Supreme Court ruling subsists, got it all wrong. They went to the Supreme Court on Friday. Friday to Tuesday is how many days? 4 days?
4 days.
4 days. So when such orders are made, the status quo remains for the next 7 days.
Oh, so
Yes, 7 days.
Only weekends.
The 7 days that don't include weekends. When you are reckoning time.
so from Friday, then we'll come on Monday, Tuesday,
So,
Wednesday, Thursday,
yes,
Thursday, today.
7 days.
And
7
then the
days.
next 7 days will be Tuesday, the next Tuesday.
So 7 days period, the status quo remains. Then the judgment or the ruling will take effect
So after Tuesday.
after 7 days. So where the majority in parliament on that day against their conduct was their conduct against the Supreme Court, the answer is no, because there's a period of duration where the status quo remains the same. So that is an indication for those who think that the majority in Tuesday's sitting shouldn't have sat at where they are. They also got it wrong.
Right. Adams, Andy,
yo abusafo enti ha na enkomo no ekusiye ya lawyer Abraham Amaliba etumi ekyerkyere ensem no mu ekusiye abusua emra ne de wo na mmom se enkrofo bi di mmra no be ye adwuma no na akwaye problem emra ne de enke da ho pefi a kyerɛ sɛ direct interpretation we any other interpretation bi wo ba bi the law and the text in that article no explicit can in plain words enye afei na obi kodwe ne ho nsen no de no pese o kire ana dabi akwai te se mra na se obi twisi kan ku obi a meda interpretation bi animu bi direct interpretation. Nanso so abusafo ubenya NPP for ama omodi asemi abeye politics. Yes. Ubenya NPP for ama omodi asemi abeye politics gidi unsem hunu nkoa na lawyer Amaliba ekano. Odi omo si ha na omo de wa be si ha. Odi omo ochi omo ha na omo asa akoka asam foforo. Chese de bia entro takashi Azar, everything should go my way. MPP doesn't want defeat. Yembu o mansa anye you. Yembu o mansa obusafo. Yembu o mansa o. Amambu no. Awoso bu ni say ye nyina ye hye tumi biase. Ne tumi ne ka no aka wa ebe few no aka few. Wo bibia no wakoye next time bi na so aye onyoma yi. That is how we should all be moving our lives. Se entesa na yekoye abra boss ye de ye ya mana koye se we sabe se we na ono no oye se efensen ono de mra no kutia na ende debi na we de mra no kutia na ene na ye yes ye say o man no ye destabilize o man no ya hwe yi a ye bema okosam aba o man nim o man na hwe ntimi ngina o man na hwe be bo ye nya sa o wose ye hwe ne make sure say obiara e hemra na se enti de mra ne ka no e affect obiara na e affect obiara ni ho a ye be ka so no de ososen mra there be nobody is above the law, not even the president. Nobody, no chief in Ghana, bit makaso so in Ghana, mra debida. Utwisi kan ko bi eye meda, mransi enchuntum, una wosi yo tumfo, una wosi wo ye yana, una wosi wo ye hwan gamanche ubedem, I'm telling you ubedem, opa try. Ubedem. That is how we should allow the constitution to work. Tisani ekwe ne se mra no ye nkrofo a e favor omo ene ye nkrofo a edi omo ne ho adade a abusa emwa what you say ebre aso se ye de abiakoye ne nukredie esom Ghana ni jai sa find this as kind of an intimidation no why court no no Supreme Court no na chere mram sabe mra no omo so omo tete say ye lawyers ye ebinim ye mistake omo so de no omo de omo interest na interpreti emra no, but because say emra na omo kwan say omo pe na interpreti na omo interpreti ya dane law no enti na ebinim hye ho no omo de omo corrupt efen say suban no e de hye ho no omo say oman no aden abusuafo moma yen sorry you na ebre no awiadu Ghana moma yen sorry, yes moma yen sorry abusuafo. PENDREAM TV so ne na maso guso a ene mani guso a mo hwel me so subscribe to the channel, like video no na share to other platforms so ema me ane abuja for me den kaboy ebrem fa border cross travel and tour o say ba no wa kwantu hu nsensem e wo Ghana ha ma no ne ene me fa ne say Europe, America, Asia, Africa, babia abusia line e wosa utimi frɛ na woni omo kasa nie o mehwe atoto bibia e di ama 030397700006 0303977006 and I say 0500410007 0500410067 pacho offer catchom say PENDREAM TV na unya number no o mesoto out number ososo wonsa aka de wo pe enyina buja for aha PENDREAM message say obeko so subscribe to the channel, like video na share to other platforms so emayen buja for aha yedie sa pepepe ene kon PENDREAM TV edam yopo
PENDREAM TV nyame shira opa na edwuma kese a wo ye de bia me hwe o YouTube and all other social media platforms. It's Ramon go follow PENDREAM TV. Very fantastic talent, doing a lot of the channel.
Dedi kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Ah nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.